In a glorious blur of axe swings and haymakers, God of War has firmly established itself as one of the best PS4 exclusives so far. You can check out our review for a full breakdown of precisely what I love about it so much, but suffice it to say, Sony Santa Monica and especially creative director Cory Barlog have knocked it out of the park and into a neighboring realm. Chances are you'll be picking up God of War off just sheer impulse and hype alone, and if so, there's plenty more to learn than what the various tutorial pops and Atreus' helper comments can get across. I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and without any spoilers for the main game, this is God of War 10 tips and tricks the game doesn't tell you. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to stay notified. Ding, ding, done. Number 10, how to unlock another set of execution animations. The first 4 to 5 hours of the game are a notably slower pace than later when everything kicks into gear, but case in point, the repetitive execution animations. There are only one per enemy type, and unless you unlock a specific attack from the axe skill tree, you'll be seeing them over and over. To remedy this, hop into Kratos' Leviathan axe skill tree and into close combat, then select the perk that gives you a charge attack on R2. Once you have this, not only does it do a hefty chunk of damage even to bosses, but if you use it to finish an enemy, the camera will zoom up close and you'll get another set of executions. From lopping off heads to punting someone up and severing a torso, they also change if a foe is grounded, letting you bury the blade in an incredibly satisfying way. Number 9, Spartan Rage recovers health. Useful for when you want to turn an entire field of foes into a fine paste, Kratos' all-new Spartan Rage is like popping a Titan Slam in Destiny and indulging in the chaos for a good few minutes. You'll eventually get access to 4 dedicated attacks, one for each shoulder button that unlock in time, but know that your health also comes back when you're in this mode too. I've honestly lost count of the amount of times it's prevented an unnecessary death, and if you make a point of equipping a rage-boosting enchantment or talisman, you can trigger this state as both a death-defying health restorer and a suitably devastating counterattack. Number 8, you don't have to be locked on to counter projectiles and attacks. Once you've unlocked the various counter animations, the R1, R2 charge counters, or the projectile reversal, know that there are 2 subtle differences in their utilization versus how the skill tree videos show. Firstly, you don't need to be locked onto an enemy to trigger the animation. Just tap L1 when any incoming melee attack from your forward flank is about to connect, and Kratos will parry and move to face the assailant instead. Second, the projectile redirect doesn't have to have a target in mind when you push the button. Though you've got to be fairly quick, tap L1 to block an incoming projectile. You can use down on the D-pad to whip around and catch anyone behind you. Then use the right stick during the slow motion to redirect the blast at the right opponent. It takes some practice to get down, but it makes you feel untouchable once you do. Number 7, Atreus is much better at dealing with mid-air enemies than using your axe. After just a few hours in God of War, you'll come across the annoying and enemy-imbuing nightmares, but left alone they'll zip inside other foes and boost their attack power. In later encounters, they can make already hard fights impossible, and though the game teaches you to take these things down with a Leviathan axe, Atreus is far more effective. Basically, thanks to the game's generous auto-lock when hitting square to fire arrows, just aim the camera towards any floating nightmare or any airborne creature, hit the button a few times and let Atreus do the rest. You don't even need to lock on. In the hands of experienced players, it means you can manage groups of grounded enemies with Kratos and those in the air simultaneously, an essential skill if you're going to be tackling the more intensely difficult side quests. Number 6, there are 2 types of axe throw, pinning smaller enemies to walls. Seen in the game's original debut demo, it's easy to forget about one of the coolest uses of the axe, burying it in a foe's face. Kratos certainly executes on this idea at key points in the story, but target the majority of smaller foes and unleash an R2 attack. Kratos will throw the axe slightly differently, and if they're next to a nearby surface that matches the trajectory of the axe in midair, they'll get pinned, suffering frost damage in the process. Once upgraded, there are few things as satisfying as cleaving an enemy's head in 2 as they get splattered against the wall behind them. Thank you, Sony Santa Monica. Thank you very, very much. Number 5, the best armor in the game resides in 2 specific places. Now I have to tell you that there's a minor spoiler here relating to locations that you'll travel. You can head to this location in the time frame to skip this bit if you want. So, once you unlock the Bifrost in the center of Midgard, you'll look upon an entire wheel of location options you can target to travel. The main story takes you through most of these, but not Muspelheim or Niflheim. These 2 places are only unlocked by finding 3 specific runes apiece in the open world, before then returning to the Bifrost. The majority of them you'll find on the main quest, but it's up to you to seek them out. The very reason these realms are left to the side though, is because they harbor the game's best legendary armor. Muspelheim in particular is a grueling combat arena you'll likely not stand a chance in until you're at least level 5 or more. Whether from acquisition or crafting materials though, Muspelheim and Niflheim are essential if you want to play the game in style. Number 4, kick enemies off cliffs for easy kills and your items won't be lost. Attention all video games. You should all have this feature forevermore. Seriously, how many times have you booted a foe off a cliff only to realize their valuable loot when careening off the brink alongside them? Skyrim certainly had this problem, as did The Witcher 3. Well, no more. Sony Santa Monica truly did code something for the players, as even if you send someone soaring out of the playing field, a neat little pile of goodies will sprout on the mountainside. Simply de-equip your axe by tapping right on the D-pad and use R2 for a big boot that sends foes flying in the opposite direction. You can even use it to target parts of the environment and end your fight by sending a foe careening into a pile of barrels. It's just fun. Number 3. Know that using your axe still does stun damage. Up front, God of War tries to get across that your axe should be used to finish enemies off, whilst using your foes is best for accruing stun damage, setting them up for executions or charge attacks. However, whilst this is true, basic axe attacks also build stun damage too. It's worth knowing so you don't mistakenly drag out a fight against any larger foe like an ogre or an orc just because you want to see the newest kill animation. Use your fists towards the end of a duel if you don't want to overshoot and kill your target, but your axe is still great to use beforehand. Number 2, you can curve your axe's retrieval arc to catch more enemies. Slightly awkward to pull off until you get it down, there is a way to curve your axe's path in a way that's more effective than the standard recoil. Usually you tap triangle to get your blade back in much of a straight line, but moving Kratos can alter the flight path. Make a point of strafing to the left or right when you're holding L2, and now when you hold triangle in motion, the axe will be forced to travel in a wider arc that compensates for where your hand is. This makes for a more effective attack strategy as enemies like to swarm around you. With a little practice and taking note of where your axe has landed before calling for it, you can preemptively place your axe's path through the air for the best results. Number 1, find the optional combat challenges and endgame content. To even unlock or stand a chance at getting through all the optional combat challenges, rooms, and areas, you're going to need to finish the game. Steering completely clear of spoilers, there is a way to get back in the open world after the credits, and it's here where a number of places you've likely been before will now have additional enemies and fight setups that you can access with a full set of powers. If you, like me, mainlined the story to see what happens and were left dying to keep playing after the credits, know that this is actually the best time to mop up all the most grueling content. Good luck.
Hey guys, thanks for making it to the end of the video. Aren't you a star? Don't forget to subscribe below, and also the people who made this video, they're right here, so go and follow them and give them some love. If you want to see more content, there's probably some stuff flowing up above my head. Why not check it out? It could be fun. I'm not your dad.